Well, the question says f of x is equal to a quota to the power of x, and then in the previous video we did question 5.1 through 5.4. Now in this video we're going to do question 5.5. We start with question 5.5. Let's move. I'm gonna move my. So like question 5.5. The question says, write down the domain of f minus 1. So we're looking for the f minus 1. Okay, from the graph, we can look from the graph here and answer the question. The domain is of f minus 1. F minus 1 is the graph in green. That f minus 1. We can see that in this graph here, only values of x that are positive, that are selected, okay, that are accepted, because the graph doesn't cross, the graph doesn't appear this side. Only values of x that are more than 0, so from origin here to this, okay. You can also look at from the function itself, log of x, we said here, okay, as I answered here somehow in the previous video. We showed that when we were when we were calculating the y-intercept, we discovered that log cannot take a value like 0 because x takes values that are strictly more than 0. Okay, so the domain of f is x is greater than 0. So that's the domain of. Sometimes it can be written like this: x is an element of this interval from -∞ to 0. Okay, so that was 5.5. Now let's do 5.6. Let's do 5.6. Question 5.6 says, for which values of x will f minus 1 of x be greater or equal to -2? All right, I'm gonna move my board. I'm gonna say here 5.2. So we're looking for the values of x, okay, for which f minus 1 will be greater or equal to -2. Now, okay, f minus 1. So f minus 1 of x is given by log of x base a quarter. Okay, so we're going to say log of x base a quarter is greater or equal to -2. Now, I prefer to use to rewrite log of x base a quarter. We have found that this was like this was equivalent to negative log of x base 4. Okay, this is in the previous video. This is greater than or equal to -2. Now, at the moment that we have like negative signs like that, it means we can cross these lines, these signs, and then rewrite the inequality. Now it's going to be log of x base 4, okay, with +2 there. Then the inequality will be swapped, will be changed. Okay, when we times the inequality by negative sign, the inequality changes also. So it's no longer be greater or equal to 0, but then it will become lesser than or equal to 0. So this will be lesser than or equal to, lesser than or equal to 2. Then we can work it out. We can say, okay, this means that x must be lesser than or equal to 4 to the power of 2. Okay, so that means x is less than or equal to 16. But remember, we say that logs, okay, it means I'm gonna show a number line here. So if 16 is there, it takes the values that are lesser than 16. But remember, the domain we did find that x cannot be lesser, x cannot be lesser than 0. Like x is strictly more than 0. Okay, we did find it in the previous question here, and then in other questions also. So we will say, therefore, because it's also more than 0, so let's say 0 is somewhere here. So it takes only these values that are more than 0. So actually, our solution lies here in between 0 and 16. So therefore, x will be the values of x will be those values that are values of x that are in between 0 and 16. So this is the solution. Thank you. The solution can also be written. It can also be written like this: x is an element of the interval from 0 to 16, like that. You can write like that. Thank you. Now let's see. The other question is question 5.7. Move here. Okay, now we do question 5.7. Okay, we can do. Okay, we can stop here. Thank you.